Welcome back, with we boost to the channel Publishing Doge. For today, in these card ideas, I'm going to be doing two types of cards. I've made a lot of different types of. I've done some. I've done a whole set of elderly cards, and I've done more of this card, which I'm pretty sure I did in the last episode. But in case I didn't, it's a one sun trick for Mega Grow, which replaces a ground lane with a heights lane and gives any plants there +1/+1, which destroys any environments there. So now I get a Guardian trick, which is the similar premise: Tangerine Teardown, Guardian Common Fruit trick, 2 sun. Choose a heights lane. A zombie there takes 2 damage. Turn it into a ground lane. So this is also, not only is this like a little bit of small removal, obviously it's not that efficient because it's always in the same lane for Guardian. Obviously it can be good for Grass Knuckles because it allows him to get more value from his punch, but it's also good for Grass Knuckles because you remember all the way back, oh man, it was a while ago, wasn't it? There it is, Plague Doctor. I was talking about how this card, it shouldn't actually be too overpowered because every single hero has a way of killing him, even though basically, if you didn't see the video, this is a 5/1/2 with Deadly, that whenever you play a plant, it instantly does 1 damage to it. So when you play a plant, it instantly kills it, unless it's got armoured or can't be hurt that turn when it's played. Guardian has some armoured plants. Besides that, Grass Knuckles would either need an armoured plant. Basically, the only affordable one is Juggernaut, and the only other one I think in the game is Gravity and Tough Beats, which are both 6 costs. Yeah, that, or you'd have to, if it was played on heights, you wouldn't be able to spikeweed it, so you'd have to banana peel it into spikeweed sector, which obviously that's too, much to ask. So I said I'd add some more removal cards for Grass Knuckles, so that he could, deal with a card like this if it became real, which is what I've done now, as you can see. Because this card, if it was played on heights, would instantly kill the, thing for just 2 sun, and would also get you an extra ground lane for if you haven't used your super yet. So yeah, then there's Thirst, Mega Grow Super Rare trick. So this is the same idea, though it's super rare because this one's a little bit better value for sun. 2 sun, choose a water lane, turn it into a ground lane. Amphibious plants and zombies there get -1/-1. Plants on the ground get +1/+1. But yeah, basically the plants on the ground just drink the entire water lane, which will give them like a buff, and anything that was already in the water lane without the water gets a bit of a debuff. Then we have Experimental Waste. This is so far all the environmentally all the water, heights, and ground controlling cards have been plant cards, and I kind of did that by accident. I did want zombies to have something like that, but I didn't. But now I've started doing it, I do think it'd be a good idea for this to be mainly a plant thing. But I do want the zombies to have some capability to have control over heights, ground, and water. So I came up with this: Experimental Waste, Brainy Super Rare Science Barrel Trick, 2 brains, conjure a science card. It gets deadly. Destroy any plants in the water and replace the water with a toxic lake environment. A toxic lake environment is just a thingy. It's just a water lane that gives zombies deadly. Besides that, it's the same as a normal water lane. But yeah, so basically you get to conjure a science card for 2 brains that gets deadly and destroy anything in the water. So it's pretty good. It's a really good value for 2 brains, being able to draw a card, giving that card deadly, even though it won't be from your deck, and then being able to destroy any plants in the water, and then give any zombies in the water deadly. It does seem a bit too much, but 1, it's super rare, and 2, Gravebuster only costs 2, and that insta-kills something that is a gravestone, and there are no 1-cost gravestones, so that's always a good, at least at the very worst, meh value. You can get some amazing value from that, though. But that card's not even actually that good because of how situational it is that they have a gravestone. They could simply have a deck with no gravestones, and then Gravebuster is a dead card in your hand in Guardian, a class without that much card draw. So that card could be the same thing, where they never play in the water lane, because there are a lot of people who only have amphibious cards in their deck just in case someone else plays in the water lane, and they never really use them aggressively. So, or just have control cards to deal with things in the water more often. You don't see too many amphibious things, so I don't think it'd be actually too powerful. Although it might be as a good counter to this. Flood, Smarty, Rare Trick, 5 sun. Now, this does seem completely broken, but remember this is 5 sun, and remember that both sides don't have that many amphibious plants, so this is a disadvantage to both of you. This is almost like a cuke. Smarty, rare trick, 5 sun, although obviously you can prepare for this, like have amphibious on the ground. Destroy all your non-amphibious plants, and destroy all non-amphibious... Destroy all non-amphibious plants, zombies, and plant and zombie environments on the ground. Replace all ground lanes with water lanes. Your amphibious plants get +1/+1. So this is a massive play, but it's a late game play, well, mid-late game. And on top of that, it's a, well, it's a very damaging play to both of you. Obviously, you probably have a deck orientated to use this well. I did originally have this at 6 sun, and I'm open-minded to putting it back up to 6, but I don't know. I feel like this could actually, backfire on you quite easily if you get some bad draws. And then all you've got, both of you have only got a heights environment to play on at that point. Anyway, then we get into this set of old cards. So, after seeing Elderberry, I had an idea for one called, well, it wasn't to do with Elderberry, this is like much later when I was thinking of how to improve berry synergy. I thought of one called Granny Cranberry. I also wanted to make one called Granny Smith, because, Granny Smith apples. And from there I thought, that means I've got, like, 3 different old plants. And one in each class except for Smarty and Guardian. And then I realised that I should have this card, Get Off Our Lawn, which I'm going to get to in a moment. But, yeah. So anyway, that's what led me to do this, and that was what led me to add this Elder tag. If I put this into the actual game somehow, I would make Elderberry also get this tag. Although that would make him have 4 tags, Berry, Flower, Plant, and Elder, which, no, I don't think you're technically allowed that. I've never seen any plants or zombies with more than 3. But I don't know, you could just make it have that much. And if it really mattered that much, you could probably take away the flower synergy. I don't know if it'd be accurate, but whatever. Anyway, Granny Cranberry is a Kabloom rare elderberry plant, 2/04. When a berry destroys a zombie, draw a card. Which is going to make berry synergy better, I imagine. Not too good, but better. Because most berry cards... but first of all, Kabloom doesn't have good card draw, so this is a way to give someone like Spido card draw. Spido berry decks would actually probably become a thing, just because, he has no card draw except for Cosmic Cards and Photosynthesizer. But, this would give him more card draw, and also, destroying zombies is basically what berries do, if you really look at them. I mean, they have Sour Grapes, Sergeant Strongberry, Berry Blast, and Strawberrian coming in set 4, Bluesberry. All these examples of berries that are like, do this much damage to a zombie, and that will likely destroy them, unless they're very massive. Then there's Granny Smith. Mega Grow rare, Elder Fruit plant, they're all rare by the way. 2/15. When a plant gains strength or health, draw a card. So this is basically like a part of Powerhouse that doesn't work in your hand, and instead of it getting bigger, it draws cards. So yeah, I feel like in some decks that could be crazy, but in most decks it will just be a card you put in, not because exactly it's going to be like the main thing about the deck, but just because it's Mega Grow, everything's going to grow. But yeah, then there's Wise Nut. Guardian Rare Elder Nut Plant, also a 2/15, but this one has Bullseye. Because it has Bullseye as well as good stats, this has got a bit more of a condition. Whenever 2 plants team up, draw a card. So when I say that, I basically mean if there's 2 plants on the same lane, you get to draw a card. Yeah, and it's good stats and all that, good buff target. And finally, this one's a little bit weird, but I didn't really want to change this one. I like this idea. Old Bean. Smarty, rare, Elder Bean plant, 3/4. Whenever anything is bounced, draw a card. And this can't be bounced. And that's something we haven't had in the game yet, something that can't be bounced. Obviously, it's not a very high-value target, so it's not like it's going to get bounced that much. But I don't know, maybe you're in a situation where you've just card starved your opponent and then they play this, and obviously they're got a lot of bounces in the deck and they're going to top deck a Jumping Bean, or you're scared about that or something, and you might want to use your Pogo you just put down to get rid of it, and you can't. But I don't think it's going to be like too game changing, but I just wanted to add that. just so like also, I thought people might, obviously, the obvious thing to do is to make a Rescue Radish deck, since I specify anything. So if a plant gets bounced, this also draws you a card. So obviously you could use Rescue Radish, and people might not know whether he would draw a card or not if you bounced him himself, and I would probably say no, but it wouldn't matter this way, and that way there wouldn't be any confusion over that. And finally this one. I did want to lay off on the Smarty Legendaries. I already did a couple, but it's been a while since I've done any more, and this had to go in Smarty. Get off our lawn. And this is too cheap overall, considering the value you're probably going to get. But just remember that this is Legendary. Smarty, Legendary, Elder Trick. I know this probably shouldn't be Legendary, but at the same time, what else could I make this? I couldn't make this just a normal, rare, or super rare. Come on. Anyway, for Sun, if there is a zombie on the ground, meaning any ground lane, summon an Elder in every ground lane. Evolve any plant on the ground into 5/4 elderberries. Oh, I should probably do that the other way around. I'll put already there. Yeah. So basically, if you have a plant that is already on the ground... Yeah. Sorry. Mine's going blank. Yeah, so basically, if you have any lanes that are already covered, the card still has value because it'll turn it into an evolved elderberry. Which also clarifies, I mean, you probably would have guessed this anyway, because this is how it works usually, but summoning an elderberry would not give it +3 attack, because it hasn't evolved. But yeah, that's how that works. This will mostly just probably be a fun card, but it's also really good value for its cost. I mean, most of the cheapest elders cost 2, then elderberry costs 4, and old bean costs 3. And you're gonna get 3 in most cases. 3 ground lanes. You're gonna get 3 from this, which is worth 6 sun technically. And then on top of that, being able to get the chance of getting more high value stuff, it might even have to go up to 5 cost. But at the same time, it's not a very aggressive play, and since these all come from different classes, some of these aren't going to have very good synergy. Like if you get just happen to get 3 Granny Crannies or something. No, that's not a good example. In case you get, you might get 3 Wise Nuts, and a Wise Nut would it would be like... Sorry, my mind's gone out. Oh yeah, a Wise Nut, its effect is conditional. I mean, you need team up plants, and if you're not Guardian or Smarty, you can't have team up plants. Also, Old Bean, while it does have slightly better stats, you're not very likely to be able to bounce things, so it'd only be useful if your opponent was running bounce. So yeah, the random drops makes it a lot worse, but just the chance to get evolved elderberries and all that. You could also set it up so that, if you got a bit more of a zoo-like deck, you could do it you could do this in Nightcap, actually. You probably, you could, set up, a mushroom swarm deck, and then when you just swarm the field, you could evolve everything on the ground into, elderberries. Oh, I just thought, Shroom for 2, and then into this. That would get 2 teamed up evolved elderberries. There is a lot of potential to go crazy with this card. I might have to turn up the cost a bit then. I would put it at 5, just because if you use it right, this could be crazy. Also, because elderberry is the best drop you can get, and guaranteeing it is a big deal. And evolved as well, and it's already a great card overall. But yeah, I'll leave it here, but I hope you liked this video, and I'll see you in the next one.